Peace and blessings. It's Khalid here with another installment of Lessons Learned. Grateful to have you all watching my videos, listening to my story, listening to my tale, and taking this journey with me. Grateful for it. I appreciate it. And I ask that you remain with me during this journey, this lesson. Because I believe there's a lot in what I'm saying that will help us understand not only what's going on in there, but what goes on in the minds of some of those of us who have been criminals, who may still be criminals, sadly, and even people out here, because there's a lesson in everything and nothing's new under the sun. So with that said, again, thank you all for your support. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your encouragement for me to continue to do what I'm doing. It's not going to always be an easy endeavor for me. Some of the things that I'll be getting into will be painful, personal, but I'm going to be transparent. With that said, if you would hit the like button, hit that share button and share with as many people as you would like to, and subscribe to my channel. There's a lot more that I have to offer, and I believe it'll be useful. So thank you. I'll try to be brief this time. I laugh because, like I said, I can go on for days talking about what I've seen, what I've experienced, what I've felt for those 25 years. And but I'll try to keep it brief today. I want to speak about the routine, my routine specifically, and the importance of routine for those of us who were locked up. As I said last time, I saw a lot the first month or two. You know, the first month or two, I saw a couple of stabbings. I saw quite a few guys get beat up. I saw a lot of anger, a lot of arguments, just a whole lot. And so I had to prepare myself for that. One of the things I attribute to my course was I was actually born in the Nation of Islam. I was born Khalid, courtesy of my father. So that gave me a foundation. And though I didn't live like that on the street, I had those roots. I had those seeds planted in me. So when I failed, I had to ask myself over and over again, how did I want to do my time? As I stated, when I was in the jail, when I was in juvie, I fought, I played cards, I sat around shooting the breeze, talking about neighborhoods, what we could have did, what we should have did, and what we would do if given the opportunity. You know, that was the mentality when I first got locked up. But after realizing, after, you know, a year of trial, jail, reception, the beginning of my prison bit, I had to ask myself, how do I want to do this? And this is the question that the majority of people incarcerated ask themselves, how do I want to do my time? And so me being born in the nation, I said, well, I'm going to decide to focus on learning, educating myself, just becoming a better person, making my prayer. And most people find religion when they're locked up. Most people were, you know, into something when they were born, whether mostly, you know, Christian households or whatever. So people say when you get locked up, you find God. When you go through tragedy, you find God. And there are those who mock that because they don't want to lose you, because they want to keep you where they remembered you. You know, you drinking every day with your mob, you turn around and say, I don't want to drink no more. They're going to feel like they lost a partner, a drinking partner, someone to contribute to the drink. So they're going to mock you. They're going to joke you. They're going to ask you what you doing and why you changing up. The truth is you're just striving to do and be better. And as opposed to encouraging one another to do that, we have a tendency to throw daggers and try to find a way to pull you back to where we're comfortable, as opposed to pushing you to where you're better, you're more comfortable, and then you can pull us. That's not, you know, that's not how we are. That's not how we're raised, sadly, the majority of us. And so I had to find a routine. And that routine was I walked the yard with the brothers in the nation. I walked the yard with some of the brothers that I had formed a bond with in reception. And I made time, you know, usually in the morning, that's what it was. From like 7:30, I would walk the yard with a couple of brothers that I was close to, and we would, you know, study our lessons, and we would just dialogue about life and, you know, trying to connect the dots. And we would come back in, go in the park, count time, come back out. You either hit chow, or you go on the rec yard. And so I would either go on the rec yard, go to chow, and then go back on the rec yard. And then I would walk with a couple of the guys that, we had met in reception and, forge a bond. And usually in the evening, I would walk by myself. Those that know me know that was a routine of mine. I often walk by myself. Just because I found tranquility, I found peace in my own company. I've never been one that enjoyed being around a lot of people or crowds. I'm like that to this day. And I walked alone a lot just because I chose to do that. That's how I get my thoughts, balanced, or I find my peace, etc. So I did that. Earned my GED early on. I read a whole lot. You form a workout routine. And things went like that for a while. And then there were guys I would sit around and watch who also came through reception with me, or guys who had already been doing time, and I would watch. They would sit on the benches on the rec yard, or they would just sit in the pods, and they were still playing cards. I mean, these guys were 17, 20, 25, 30, 35, and they were just playing cards all day, still talking to guys, their peers, about neighborhoods, about streets, about drugs, about what they did. And it used to kind of throw me off. And some of these guys, as time went on, I found were illiterate. And so I was grateful for my routine, because what it did was it gave me structure. It allowed me to pass my days, not just pass them, but to gain something at the end of the day. I started reading the dictionary. I wanted to learn different words. I hated sounding ignorant, especially when I was up against people or listening to people who sounded mature, who sounded articulate, who sounded evolved. And I'm like, more refined. I'm like, do I sound like that using, slang all day? And it did. So, I found myself studying the dictionary and reading books left and right, not just religious books, but just other books, just trying to occupy my mind, occupy my time, and deal with this life sentence. And again, that was routine for me. And throughout my time, that routine benefited me, and it benefited a lot of guys. Before I came home, the Virginia Department of Corrections established pods for parolees, guys who were granted parole. And most of the guys who were granted parole had done 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45 years in prison. And so there were 4 prisons, one pod in each prison designated for those returning home. And for 5 months, it was mandatory for us to go to programs such as Breaking Barriers, Thinking for a Change, Houses of Healing, Preps, Victims Impact, and that's a phenomenal program, and other classes, other training, learning, seminars, learning how to tie neckties, learning how to be more articulate when you speak in front of crowds, learning how to work on computers, learning how to put together resumes. That was a very big and important one. So we were given this opportunity for 5 months within these parole pods. And I believe a lot of these programs, especially Victims Impact, should have been established, or should be established, not just for those making parole. They should be mandatory throughout the prison system, because that program, the way it is set up, is phenomenal. House of Healing as well. But all of them are beautiful if you're invested in them. You can gain so much from them. Breaking Barriers, Thinking for a Change, phenomenal programs. But I noticed that if you had done these programs during the course of your time, you didn't have to redo them in this 5-month time. And most guys wanted to go home. Once you make parole in your mind, 2 weeks later, once your your parole plan is approved, you're gone. So when they told us we had 5 months to do in these prison pods, and the time had changed, and I'll address that later, because when I came, it was a certain way in prison. The rules that I spoke on, I have a part 2 coming up about prison rules, because there were certain things that were just not done, and there were certain things that were done. Time has changed so drastically. Things are not the same at all in the prison system. But routine, I noticed that a lot of guys had not done these programs, so they had to get in the programs. And they were bothered because you had to get a signature, of completion once you finish these programs. So some guys didn't come with certificates of completion of a lot of these programs. And I'm looking at guys like, how could you do 20, 25, 30, 35 years and you didn't attend any of these programs? You didn't do anything. Some guys, and I'm not mocking, I'm not judging. Some guys are still illiterate, leaving prison after 20, 25, 30 years, still illiterate. Because not only did they not find it within themselves to go to school, to learn, to become better, those around them didn't push them either. And that says a lot, because if someone is around you, not pushing you to do and be better, then you're wasting their time. You're wasting your time and they're doing the same. I honestly believe that if people aren't around you trying to tell you how to be a better father, or urge you to be a better husband, urge you to be a better man, urge you to be a better brother, a sister, a niece, a nephew, and not pushing you like they're better than, but that's what love is. It is trying to urge the one that you care for to do and be better. That's what it is. That's the definition. So, you have guys in prison and all over, women as well in their prisons, who hang around people all day who don't even care anything about them. They just want someone to laugh with, joke with, share wine and drink with, party with, talk foolishness with. And when you get to a certain point in your life, you look back and you're saying, I wasted a lot of time doing nothing. So I say that for me, the routine that I established throughout my time, I earned my GED. I started working on, poetry. I started writing. I started reading a lot. I read a lot of books. I worked on becoming a mentor. And that wasn't something that I just said I'm going to do. It's just what I guess, the role I fell into, because I desired the best for the guys around me, realizing I put myself in a terrible position. I harmed people, and my foolish decisions affected so many people. And I have to address that, in one of these installations. We don't know that, or we don't even ponder that in the beginning of our time, how our decision, one mistake, and it can be light, it can be heinous, how that affects so many people for so long. And so when that realization hits you, then that's like more than a gut punch. That's like a bruising, a battering, an assault on your own spirit. And you have to deal with that. So the lesson that I learned, and I learned this walking the yard early on in prison, was I wasn't going to waste my time. I started off, year and some change doing that, maybe two. But I knew that I wasn't going to waste my time. And so I urge us, I urge myself, when you wake up during the day, you look around and you ask yourself, how can I do and be better? What can I do to make my life a little better for those that I love as well? How can I make their lives better? This is what family does. This is what, loved ones do. This is what humans are supposed to do. How can we make ourselves better? Some of us are caught in a rut. Some of us are used to a particular sort of routine, and we're there, but we're not happy because we're not fulfilling our destiny. We're not becoming who we are meant to be in the eyes of the Most High. And so I just urge everyone to strive harder to do and be better, and continue to push one another to do and be better. That's what we're supposed to do. So routine is important. And for those who have fashioned themselves inside to maintain themselves, their established routines, and it benefited them, then I applaud them. And you can see the benefit in a lot of guys now who have been inside, and they will tell you about their routines, and you see the benefit. Some guys worked out all day. They're healthy. They're fit on the outside. Some guys studied and worked their minds all day, and they're intelligent, and they're, ambitious, and they're driven, and they're knowledgeable. Some guys did trades, and so you see them working now, and this applies to women in women prisons as well. I don't want to exclude them because they're going through the same exact thing. So again, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for walking with me. Hit that subscribe button, hit that share button, hit that like button, and I'll have something else for you soon. Thank you. Have a great day.